Well, here at home, one of the big stories that's been dominating over the last several days is the fact that Air Canada executives got bonuses after, of course, getting a government bailout. Well, Air Canada now bowing to that uproar we've seen over that executive compensation, saying its CEO and executive vice presidents are giving up those payouts that were disclosed in the filing last week. And of course, it has been a public relations nightmare for the company after it secured that multi-billion-dollar federal backstop. Earlier we spoke with an ethics professor, Richard LeBlanc at York University. He put the blame on more than just the company.
It shouldn't have happened. I mean, in a situation like this, you ask where was the board, but you also ask, in this case, where was the government? And it's governance 101 that we should have learned from 2008 that executive pay, if you receive government aid, executive pay does not go up. Dividends are not declared, and buybacks do not occur. There's no excuse. You ask where was the board and where was the government. So, these continuous apologies, there's a pattern here of the government dropping the ball.
All right, LeBlanc also says that compensation committee that oversaw this, not a diverse group, feels like it needs to be scrutinized.
4 of the 6 members of the compensation committee of Air Canada are current or former CEOs. They tend to be sympathetic to executive pay. There's a 5th member who is a partner at a law firm. There's a 6th member who is a former provincial premier, Mr. Dewar. And, at some point, the hands should have gone up and said, we're laying off thousands of people. We're not refunding customer money. As a matter of optics, this should not happen.
Matters of optics, matters of communication. How did the airline handle this? How could they have better handled this situation? Let's bring in Wojtek Dabrowski. He's a managing partner at Provident Communications. Wojtek, always great to have you on the program. They've bowed to the pressure. Should they even have ended up here in the first place?
No, Greg, it's great to be here, first of all, and thank you for having me. The short answer to your question is no. I actually think I look at what Minister Freeland had to say about this in the government statement, that this was a completely avoidable situation for Air Canada, and I would agree strongly with the other guests that you were just referencing in terms of where was the government and where was the board. I think there's enough accountability here to go around. Of course, unfortunately, in the statement pulling back these bonus payments, you're seeing no accountability whatsoever from Air Canada. And that's always disappointing to see. It's even frustrating to look at some of the nomenclature and referring to this as a compensation outcome, as though it's something that just happened magically by itself. It's not a decision. It's not a bonus payment. It's an outcome. I would suggest to you that very word choice kind of gives you an insight into how this is all being viewed at Air Canada.
Is the pivot point on this one basically the fact that they did take a multi-billion-dollar support from the federal government, ultimately from the taxpayer? We had a guest on earlier, Ian Lee of Carleton University. He made a pretty impassioned argument that we don't get in the way of the free market in terms of compensation for executives at private companies, but the major caveat seems to be here the fact that they took billions in taxpayers' cash.
Yeah, so a few things to observe about that, right? Now, and Air Canada quickly ran to point out that none of this 10 million comes from that 5.9 billion that they're getting in loan support from the government. But I think the point stands. This is fundamentally a subsidy level support to the airline. It's getting a helping hand because it's so flat on its back in terms of the impact of the pandemic that it needed this assistance. It was in a financial position so dire that it prevented it from issuing refunds on flights that were purchased, and it had to lay off 20,000 people. Against that backdrop, what management team and what group of directors gets together and says, you know what we ought to do? We should pay them an extra $10 million to the management team for steering us through this pandemic. It's just a shocking lapse in common sense and good judgment. And I think, the statement from Air Canada also points out, again, referencing these compensation outcomes at other companies, that they're in line with what Air Canada is proposing. I would suggest to you that skillfully navigating the pandemic and ensuring that the company still has a business to speak of on the other side of this thing is doing your job. And for doing your job, you're compensated on an annual basis. In Air Canada's case, you're compensated very well. And frankly, that's a comment that stands true for most of corporate Canada. To issue an additional bonus on top of that against all of the red flags that I just itemized in addition to the fact that, you're talking with the government about this massive bailout, and the terms of that bailout stipulate clauses around buybacks and dividends and issuing bonuses, and you still go ahead with this plan. Today, Air Canada, all it has to show for this bonus payout is a bunch of negative news media coverage and a serious blow to its reputation. The other thing, Greg, I just want to really quickly drive home for viewers is the fact that the small barbershop and the small retailer on the street, they don't get to access billions of dollars in government support. They also don't get to access and pay themselves bonuses. They've taken whatever support is available to sort of stay afloat. But when they watch this and they say to themselves, look, I pay a lot of tax every year as a business owner. This is how the largest airline in the country is behaving after laying off 20,000 people. It's a very difficult thing to swallow. And I think that's going to leave a bit of a lasting mark on Air Canada's reputation. I'm not sure that if I'm that small business owner and finally, 6 months, 12 months from now, however long, if I've still got a business and things have stabilized sufficiently that I can get on an airplane and maybe take my family on a vacation, I'm not sure Air Canada is the first ticket I'm booking.
On that point, Wojtek, the small business, Main Street, taking a look at what happened here with, as you said, people who are well compensated for their positions. What'd you make of that statement they put out? We're voluntarily giving back the money. We know people are disappointed. Did it go far enough?
I think it's the only it's the only remaining door for them to step through, right? Like at this point, there's no win for Air Canada here. It proverbially crashed and burned when it comes to announcing this thing. It's walk back an apology. By the way, not really an apology, right? It's casting the blame on the public, of course, that inadvertently, unintentionally, there appears to be public disappointment in what's happening. That was a moral calculus to undertake before you issue this bonus plan and stick it in your proxy circular for the media to find. And obviously kudos, frankly, to every reporter who's paying attention to this, because at the end of the day, we're citizens of the same country. And when we talk about we're all in it together, it should feel that way all the way from the biggest corporations to the smallest individuals in Canada. And so I think that, it was the only option for them to pull this back and walk it back insofar as that's even possible. And here we are today with nothing but a PR disaster on their hands.
Do you think this episode for Air Canada has other large Canadian companies taking a look at some of their policies, whether they needed support at all during the pandemic?
Yeah, I think that's very likely, and it's a good question, Greg. But again, as your other guest referenced, you would have thought that companies would have learned about this from the financial crisis and when bailouts were issued to companies that then undertook buybacks or issued bonuses, retention bonuses to executives. But that doesn't appear to be the case. You've got an even more recent learning when the Triple P Paycheck Protection Program in the United States launched, and along with other supports, and all of which were taken advantage of by large companies that were still making very healthy amounts of profit, that then had to give them those payments back. So it's not as if there isn't, textbook examples of what not to do here. But I do think that the rest of corporate Canada is going to be paying close attention to what happened here and ensuring that at least these are communicated properly and contextualized for the public rather than simply being disclosed in a proxy circular and you sort of hope for the best.